Let's talk about the safety versus autonomy tether. Every single morning when I look at my daughter, I feel this invisible cord hum between us. It's a constant, sweaty palm negotiation of slack. You want to wrap them in bubble wrap. You want to curate the world so perfectly that nothing sharp ever touches them. I know, but then the truth hits you. If you never let them feel the wind, then they'll never learn how to brace themselves against a storm. Blah, blah, blah. I know. But heads up, this next movie that I do a deep dive into, it's very heavy about substance abuse, mental health, and raw family trauma as a whole. If you need to pause, step away, or even just shut off this podcast, please do so. Your headspace comes first, and I'll be right here in the next one. Check the links in the description if you are struggling and you really need a hand. Before kids, I could watch a gritty drama like this and appreciate the craft from a safe distance. But viewing this from the other side of the fence, it changes everything. It triggers a total psychological overhaul. I find myself locked in a struggle, staring at a parent's bone-deep exhaustion and feeling it in my soul. I quickly realized that no amount of treating a grape like a choking hazard or a flight of stairs like a liability can really prepare me for the agony of a child sliding into a self-destructive spiral that I just simply would not be able to fix. Beautiful Boy is the ultimate case study about this tension. It's about David Sheff, a father, trying to find where his protection ends and his son Nick's agency began. Before I was a mom, I watched this and saw a very tragic but beautifully filmed drama. Now it's just like a psychological horror film. It's a scream into the void about the terrifying reality that love, no matter how pure, it's not a force field. No matter how good of a parent you are, nothing is guaranteed. This isn't a Hollywood invention. It's a double adaptation of two memoirs, Beautiful Boy by David Sheff and Tweak by Nick Sheff. This gives the film a dual DNA of a truth that is rare.
Magazine? No, I'm sorry. No, I freelance. I write for different magazines, but this is a personal matter.
A personal matter?
Yes, I'm sorry. Is that okay?
No, it's absolutely okay. May I ask what this is regarding? And
it's about my son.
Okay, how can I help?
There are moments that I look at him, this kid that I raised, who I thought I knew inside and out, and I wonder who he is. He's been doing all sorts of drugs, but he's addicted to crystal meth, which seems to be the worst of all of them. And I guess I'm here because I just want to know all that I can about all of it. Know your enemies, right? So my two big questions are, what is it doing to him? And what can I do to help him?
The film doesn't start with a drug deal. It starts with an interview. We meet David Sheff, a seasoned, high-level journalist sitting across from a medical expert, taking notes on the exact chemical destruction of methamphetamine. He's asking questions like it's a standard writing assignment he can solve if he just uncovers enough facts. For those of us running a 24/7 background scan on our kids, this hits like a psychological blow. It's the ultimate parental fallacy. The deep biological belief that if you research the threat thoroughly enough, you can somehow out-engineer it. David is trying to use intellect as a shield against a wildfire, treating a clinical crisis like a bad grade he can tutor his kid out of. This non-linear timeline snaps to the immediate crisis. Nick has been missing for days. David is doing the classic parental horror walk, ringing up local morgues, tracking down leads, and staring out into a gray, uncaring downpour. When Nick finally surfaces, he's a hollowed-out ghost of himself, shivering in a diner. David wants answers, but Nick is running standard-issue addict code. Deflection, minimal compliance, and an exhausting layer of manipulation. David checks him into a high-end 28-day rehab facility, desperately hoping that writing a massive check and handing his kid over to the experts will reset the system back to factory settings. This is where the film deploys its most brutal technical tactic, the non-linear flashback. The film editing repeatedly yanks us out of the gray clinical misery rehab and drops us into gorgeous, sun-dappled memories of younger Nick. We see David and Nick surfing together, driving up the California coast, and whispering their favorite internal code word to each other.
Let's say hi to your mom.
Everything. We're suddenly in Nick's bedroom. David is singing Beautiful Boy by John Lennon to a toddler Nick.
Close your eyes. Have no fear. The monster's gone. He's on the run, and your daddy's here. Beautiful, 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 beautiful boy. Beautiful, 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 beautiful boy. Do you want to bring one of your dinosaurs too? People across the street. How about a book? Take my hand. Okay. Life is what happens to you while you're busy taking. You ready? Hey, hey. Can I have a hug? No? Why not? Are you mad at me? Because you have to go?
The two of them, surfing together. The shared books, the drawings. It's a relationship built on mutual admiration. As a parent, these flashbacks are a straight-up psychological ambush. The movie isn't just showing you a kid destroying his life. It's forcing you to mourn a child who's still technically breathing. It reminds you that every broken, twitching addict on the street was once someone's tiny, perfect human who fell asleep against their chest. Nick completes his 28 days, gets a sponsor, and heads off to college at UC Berkeley. The aesthetics of hope are turned all the way up. He's attending classes, writing poetry, and dating a girl named Julia. David and his second wife, Karen, are finally breathing, allowing more leniency. But then comes the scene that turns your blood to ice water. During a perfectly normal, lovely family dinner at Julia's parents' house, Nick excuses himself to go to the bathroom. He opens their medicine cabinet, and the camera lingers on his face as the old operating system takes back over. He finds a bottle of prescription pills, swallows one, and just like that, the structural integrity of his sobriety completely liquefies. The slide from that single pill back down to crystal meth and heroin is a vertical drop. Back at home, David notices the shift, the evasiveness, the sudden financial drain, and the sickening realization that Nick has been stealing cash from his little half-sibling's piggy banks. Desperate for answers, breaches his son's privacy and reads Nick's college journal. Instead of standard teenage angst, the pages are a putrid, festering wound of dark ink, disturbing cartoons, and frantic descriptions of craving the high. In an absolute act of parental madness born out of sheer, helpless desperation. David decides he needs to understand the enemy. He actually buys and snorts meth in his office just to see what it does to his own nervous system. It's a terrifying clinical experiment that yields zero helpful answers, only the cold, devastating realization that he is standing on one side of the existential fence, completely unable to pull his beautiful boy back over. We watch Nick try to reset his operating system. He comes home, plays in the sprinkler with his younger half-siblings, Jasper and Daisy, and for a split second, the sun-dappled illusion of safety is restored. But the Momdar background scan detects the shift immediately. The depression surges back, and the code overrides his hard drive. Suddenly, Nick isn't just destroying himself out in the wild. The poison enters home.
They're gone.
Okay. Are you sure you had it in there?
Yeah, I had them yesterday.
Okay. Jasper's savings disappeared.
Yeah, that's weird.
Did you take his $8?
What?
You heard me.
Why would I?
It disappeared and somebody has to have done
Right,
it.
so it's me. This is fucking ridiculous.
Are you using again?
Am I using again? No.
Are you high right now?
What the No. Fuck you.
Fuck you? Don't talk to me that way. Are you high right now?
No.
You're not using right now? Are you using?
No, Dad, I'm not fucking high right now.
Okay. Listen, it was a gamble to send you to college. Everybody supported it. I'm glad that you went. Relapse is part of recovery. So we're gonna get.
I better leave.
He breaks into the house, he's stealing cash from Jasper's piggy bank, and for any parent, this is the ultimate internal containment break. It's the terrifying realization that the disease doesn't just eat the addict. It acts like a biological parasite, consuming the innocence of the younger kids you are desperately trying to shield inside your protective perimeter. The slide becomes completely vertical. Nick runs off to Los Angeles and spirals into heavy IV drug use. He hooks up with a girl named Lauren, and we get the most visceral, stomach-churning sequence in the film. Nick, scoring meth, injects it directly into her veins, and she immediately overdoses. And as a former paramedic, watching this scene triggers an absolute high-voltage strike to my nervous system. I'm watching a kid bungling a literal life or death crisis, screaming, fumbling through frantic, sloppy CPR, calling 911 while trapped in a chemical fog. The camera doesn't use a melodramatic score. It just locks you into the acoustic reality of a human being suffocating in front of someone who is supposed to love them. And the scene is so raw and realistic. It made me want to reach into the TV and dispense the Narcan and do compressions myself. There is this definitive level of compartmentalization that you need to have to do a job like that. I mean, you have to have it or you cannot survive. If you get close to every single victim, every call you go on, the job just becomes impossible. But there are always calls that stick with you, the ones you never really forget. And for me, and most others, I should add, those were always the kids or the lonely elderly. And before I had my child, I thought of Lauren as a young adult. Well, she made her own decisions. She consented to whatever Nick did. And she did, in all truthfulness. But after I had my child, all I see is someone's baby girl and someone's baby boy, lost, no direction, walking too close to this edge of death. And all I want to do is kind of hold them. I don't think there's a definitive age limit when I look at people and just not see them as someone's baby anymore.
Chef.
Hey, Dad, it's me.
Nick.
Yeah. Please don't make me, Dad. I know I did wrong. I want to stop, but please, no rehab, all right? Just let me come home. You know what? I realize it's actually, I need to be home, but you guys are gonna give me the strength to stop. All right?
That's not going to happen. I wish that I could help you, but I can't do that. I can't.
Oh, please help me, Dad. No, Dad, I just need a little bit of help. Please help me, I want to come home.
All I can tell you is what you already know.
Dad, why aren't you fucking listening to me?
Call your sponsor.
I want to talk to my sponsor, Dad. I want to talk to you.
Get help. I love you,
Dad, what?
and I hope that you get your life together.
I love you too. I love you.
Anyways, Nick hits rock bottom, completely hollowed out, and he dials his father, David, from this greasy payphone, sobbing, begging to come home. And Timothy Chalamet plays this with such a level of frantic desperation, and it again makes me want to reach through the screen and just pull him close. But back at the house, David's new wife, Karen, is pulling the emergency brake. She reminds David that he's done everything humanly possible. If he lets Nick come back, he's dragging the entire family unit into the meat grinder. So David has to execute what I consider one of the most agonizing parental maneuvers in existence. And he tells his crying child, no. This is the exact boundary where David's duty of care shifts from trying to save the sinking ship to cutting the tow line so the rest of his kids don't drown with it. It's a psychological amputation performed without anesthesia. And then Nick manages to stabilize the system for a significant stretch. He goes to rehab, he gets sober, he stays clean, he goes back home, and for a long chunk of the final act, we're all tricked into believing that the tether of slack can finally loosen. The aesthetic of hopes are dangled right in front of our face. But with about 20 minutes left on the clock, the film delivers a savage, high voltage strike right to our guts. The underlying code overrides his hard drive again, and Nick relapses. This late stage collapse sends him spiraling straight into a brutal, near fatal overdose. When the dust clears and he narrowly survives the physical trauma, the movie refuses to close with a massive weeping theatrical hospital confrontation. Instead, the film ends exactly where it needs to, in the stark, quiet reality of a rehab center. We see David and Nick sitting together, holding hands in total, heavy silence. From outside of the existential fence, the quiet ending is actually much heavier than a melodramatic climax. It leaves you with the cold truth that survival isn't a neat victory lap. It's a grueling, lifelong maintenance script. The final image of a father and son holding hands in a clinic isn't a cure. It's just two battered survivors clinging to each other inside the wreckage, completely stripped of control, simply trying to make it through the night. The film doesn't follow a linear path because addiction isn't linear. It's brutal, repetitive, and cyclic. Nick disappears. David finds him in a grimy alleyway or a hospital. Nick goes to rehab. Flourishes. He comes home, he reads and writes, and then he relapses. We see David's desperate attempts to intervene. He researches the brain chemistry of meth. He meets with doctors. He tracks Nick's phone. He even tries to understand the why by using the drug himself. A moment of radical self-destructive empathy. The film culminates in this self-destructive, devastating third act, where after a long period of sobriety that feels like a victory, Nick relapses again. It leads to the moment where David, shattered and exhausted, has to say no to his son's plea of help. And he finally realizes his rescue missions have become part of the cycle. To truly understand the horror of Beautiful Boy, you have to understand that its structure isn't a straight line from problem to solution. It's a series of circles, each one getting smaller and more claustrophobic. It mimics the whiplash of being a parent to someone in crisis. The film constantly yanks us back into the past to show us exactly what is being lost. These scenes are bathed in that Northern California golden hour light, warm, organic, and safe. We see David and a young Nick sharing a deep intellectual bond. They have a shorthand, a mantra they say to each other. Everything. As in, I love you more than everything. At the time, it's a beautiful sentiment. But in the context of the present, it feels like a suffocating weight. David is desperately trying to use these memories as a tether to pull Nick back to the surface. But the more he pulls, the further Nick drifts. David treats Nick's meth addiction like a journalistic assignment. He meets with doctors, he researches brain chemistry, and he learns about how meth hijacks the pleasure centers. He believes that if he is the perfect parent, empathetic, informed, and patient, he can win.
He needs treatment, and fast. There's still a lot of drugs in his system. And worst of all, he's in denial.
Can you help him?
Oh, yeah. I mean, a lot of the people here are not here by choice. And they have just as much chance as anybody.
Okay.
So we have a free bed. So if you want, we can check him in for a 28-day treatment, and then we evaluate.
What is your success rate?
On the high end, 80%. On the low end, 25%. Look, he will have daily consultations with a staff psychiatrist and physician. We have daily NA and AA meetings. He'll be monitored very closely.
Thank you. And last page.
Everything.
He places Nick in a high-end rehab center. Nick flourishes. He's healthy again. He goes to college. For the long stretch of the film, we as the audience are lured into a false sense of security. We think they did it. The research worked. But the sobriety fails. Nick flees to LA, and David follows him into the grit. The entire movie is very somber. But to me, the image of Michael Scott buying meth is just baffling. Prison Mike? Indeed. He snorts it in his office. He thinks if he can feel the high, he can understand the monster. The film does something incredibly cruel in that final act. When Nick comes home again, he's clean, he's playing with his younger half-siblings, and he's being the big brother we all know he can. And there's this beautiful scene where the family is at graduation, the sun is shining, and you think the credits would be able to just start rolling at any second. But then they get you. He relapses that one last time, and he's spiraling back into the abyss. And eventually, the film just brings us back into that sterile, quiet rehab center. The final image is the one that stays with you. David is walking out into the sun where Nick is sitting on that bench in the rehab. There's no grand speech, no miracle cure, no happy ever after, where the addiction is just gone. They're just sitting together. David reaches out and holds his son's hand, a physical echo of that everything promise. And as they sit there in the silence, the weight of the endless cycle finally breaks Nick, and he just starts to cry. It's the ultimate ending for this type of story. It offers no closure, and it just shows us the endurance of a father who refused to look away. The war isn't over, and it never will be. They're just holding hands in the wreckage. I want to lean into why this bystander perspective is the most haunting part of the film. Most addiction stories are about the fire, the chaos, the rush, the visceral experience of the person in the grip of the drug.
Huh? Okay, look, we can go to the hospital, okay?
I'm not going to a fucking hospital if you call.
Look,
we can do the withdrawal thing again, baby.
call
It's okay. The fucking hospital. If you try to put me in a fucking hospital, I swear to God, we're gonna have a problem.
Rue, no, you're out of control.
Put the fucking phone down. Where did you put it? Where'd you put my pills, Mom? Where did you put it?
I'm calling the police.
No, you can't. You can't do that.
You will not attack me in my own home.
I want your own home.
I raised you. I did, okay? And you do not fucking scare me. You're not a good person, Rue.
You smiling? Really? You're proud of that? Yeah, it's a shame, Mom. My dad's dead. Kind of keeps you from admitting what a shit fucking mother you are. Oh, poor Leslie. Her daughter's an addict, but, you know, her dad did die. You hear that, Gia? You hear that? I don't want to put too much pressure on you, but you're probably going to have to be a fucking neurosurgeon or maybe an astronaut. Because if not, then Mom is 0 for fucking 2, and that means that it might actually just be her fucking fault. Bruce. Yeah, that means maybe she actually fucked up.
Okay, that's
Be
enough,
fucking
Rue.
honest.
That's enough.
Don't fucking touch me. Don't fucking touch me. You want to hit me?
Shut
Do
the
it.
fuck
Hit me.
up!
I know you want to get the fuck off of me.
Don't you fucking touch her. Get out. Get the fuck out of here. Off of me. Get the fuck out.
Beautiful Boy is about the smoke. It's about the people in the other room trying to breathe while the house burns down around them. Think about the framing of this movie. Director Felix von Groningen keeps us physically distanced from Nick adventures.
You know what we should do? We should go surfing.
Yeah.
That sound good?
I'm kind of into other things now, you know?
Reading misanthropes and seriously depressed writers.
Oh, come on, they're kind of great though, right?
I get it. It'll pass, though. It always does.
What does?
The feeling of being alienated and isolated.
Huh, that really helps. Thanks for the advice, Dad.
Okay.
All right, that came out wrong. I'm sorry.
Mm-mm.
When Nick goes into a drug den or a gritty alleyway, the camera doesn't usually follow him. The camera doesn't usually follow him inside to show us the gritty details of the usage. Instead, the camera stays outside with David. We are in the car with him, parked across the street, staring at a door that won't open. The power of this film lies in the anchor of the father's point of view. Think about The Basketball Diaries. You're in the street with Jim Carroll, which I'm just going to cut in and say DiCaprio has some good-ass roles in the early days. That, Arnie and Gilbert Grape, like, you feel the grit on the high.
Who is it?
Ma, let me in. Ma, let me in. Please, Ma. Hey, Ma. Are you in there, Ma? Ma, is that you?
Yeah.
Ma? Ma? Are you there?
Yeah.
Hi. Hi, Ma. Hi. Hi. Listen, I need you to help me out, all right? I need you to give me some money. Okay? I need you to give me like $5, like $20, something like that, because I'm in some trouble. Ma? Do you hear me, Ma?
Yeah, I hear you. I can't help you.
Okay, listen. What you gotta do is give me some money, okay?
Jim, I can't do that.
Why not? Mom, you know I'm not gonna do anything with it. I need to go out of town for a little while because I got into some trouble and I need some help with it. Okay, so you gotta give me some money, Mom. Can you hold my hand?
Yeah,
Mom?
hold your hands.
Mom, can you give me some money, please? Mom, can you give me some money, please? Stop fucking around!
I can't.
Mom, give me some fucking money, please! What are you doing? I'm your son!
I don't have any.
Mom, don't fuck around like this! Give me some money! Mom! Come on! Let me in the fucking door! Oh, God! Oh, fuck! Let me in. I need some money. I need some money real bad. Oh, fuck.
Someone's breaking into my apartment. They have a knife.
Mom. You don't know what you're fucking doing to me. to do this to your son, you bitch! You fucking bitch! Let me in. I'll do anything. I'll be a good boy. I'll be a good boy, Mom, if you let me in. Get off me! Get off! No! You fucker! You're not gonna do it! Fuck you! Ah! Don't do it! Ah! 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 Ah!
But beautiful boy stays in the hallway. When Nick disappears into a drug den, we don't go inside. We are in the car with David, watching the rain hit the windshield, and we're waiting for his shadow to move. And as a parent, that is the most accurate depiction of fear I have ever seen. It's the hallway vigil. It's that middle of the night silence when you are listening for a key in the lock or a phone to buzz. You are a secondary character in your own child's tragedy, and that powerlessness is a specific kind of torture. You are close enough to see the destruction, but you are essentially helpless to control it. The bystander perspective also highlights the slow erosion of the home. There's a scene where Nick breaks into the house to steal. We see it through David and Karen's eyes, the violation of the safe space. When you have a child, your home is supposed to be a fortress. You curate the snacks, the books, and the bedtime routine to keep the world out. But when the threat is the person you're trying to protect, the fortress turns into a cage. The bystander parent has to start locking their own bedroom door. They have to start hiding their credit cards from the person they once trusted with their whole heart. The film captures the transition from nurturer to warden and the heartbreak of realizing your child has turned your sanctuary into a crime scene. We also see the bystander descent into madness. David isn't just dad anymore. He's a forensic investigator. He's checking Nick's pupils, he's searching his drawers, he's reading his journal. And I think about this in the context of motherhood. We are taught to be attentive, but this is the dark side of attention. You aren't just looking at your kid anymore to see his smile. You're looking at his arm to see a mark. You're listening to his stories to hear his day. You're listening for inconsistencies in the timeline. This also ties in with a theme for next week, because even in times of danger, can over-restriction cause more harm than good? The bystander perspective shows us how the parents lose themselves too. David's life becomes entirely reactive. He is no longer the protagonist of his own life. He's a satellite orbiting Nick's chaos. Ultimately, being a bystander parent means being a witness to a slow motion disappearance. David is watching the beautiful boy, the kid who loved books and surfing, get erased and replaced by a chemical ghost. And the film forces us, the audience, to sit in that chair next to him. We aren't allowed the escape of the high. We are only allowed the weight of the wait. It's a validation to every parent who has ever stood in a dark hallway feeling like they are disappearing right along with their child. This validates the specific invisible trauma of the bystander parent. It's the long story of the person who is close enough to feel the heat of the fire, but is barred from reaching the extinguisher. It forces us to sit in the powerlessness. We're forced to look at all the wreckage of the home, the stolen credit cards, the empty bedrooms, rather than the thrill of the drug. It's about the person left behind, holding the pieces of a broken family.
He needs treatment, and fast. There's still a lot of drugs in his system. And worst of all, he's in denial.
Can you help him?
Oh, yeah. I mean, a lot of the people here are not here by choice. And they have just as much chance as anybody.
Okay.
So we have a free bed. So if you want, we can check him in for a 28-day treatment, and then we evaluate.
What is your success rate?
On the high end, 80%. On the low end, 25%. Look, he will have daily consultations with a staff psychiatrist and physician. We have daily NA and AA meetings. He'll be monitored very closely.
Thank you. And last page.
Everything.
David and Nick have this shorthand phrase, everything. It started when Nick was a little boy. David would say, "I love you more than everything," and Nick would repeat it back. In the beginning, everything is a light. But as the addiction takes hold, that word began to buckle under its own weight. Loving someone more than everything means loving them more than your own peace, your own finances, your own marriage, and eventually your own safety. As a mother, I listen to that word and it scares me. We say it to our kids all the time. I'd do anything for you. But the movie asks, what happens when anything isn't enough? What happens when the thing you love more than everything is trying to destroy itself? It's a beautiful sentiment that turns into a heavy, suffocating blanket. It's the baseline of parenthood, and it's the most frightening commitment we ever make. The film mimics the recovery high. We see Nick in a sustained period of health. He's the beautiful boy again. We as the audience start to exhale. We think, they made it. The stats were wrong. Love won. And then in the final 10 minutes, the floor drops out. Nick relapses, and it's a gut punch because the film lures us into the same false security David feels. But then comes the moment that actually broke me. David has to say no. Nick calls from a payphone, crying, begging to come home. And in the past, David would have driven through the night. But this time, David is sobbing, and he says he can't do it anymore. It's the ultimate parental sacrifice, denying the child you love the very comfort they are screaming for, because you realize your help isn't helping them. He has to let Nick hit bottom. It's the most agonizing no in cinematic history, and it's showing them that love eventually has to transform from a rescue mission into a vigil. And I want to really quickly talk about false summits. So if you've ever gone hiking, you know that feeling where you see the peak, you push yourself to reach it, and then you get there only to realize it was an optical illusion and there's a goddamn bigger mountain right behind it? Beautiful Boy treats the audience exactly like a hopeful parent and a fucking hiker who's getting screwed over by the fucking environment. It uses the language of cinema to lure us into the dangerous sense of false security of thinking that we made it. And it's one of the most horror-adjacent things that the film does. For a significant portion of the second act, the film shifts. Lighting gets warmer, editing slows down, and the visual anxiety of this handheld camera type stuff settles into something stable. We see Nick in a period of sustained sobriety. He's healthy. Timothée Chalamet's performance shifts from twitchy and sallow into vibrant and present. He's back to being the good son. He's helping David with the younger kids. He's a brother again, a son again.
Let's go, let's go, let's go.
Hey, no, wait. Jasper, I don't want you to go out there.
But we won't go far, I swear.
The waves are too big. It's too dangerous.
We're swim right in the waves way bigger than
Yes,
this.
I know that, but
Yeah,
I don't want you to be...
Dick will stay close, you see?
Karen, I'll stay close.
Nick can go in. That's fine. You, no. And that is final.
We'll see about that.
Hey!
Okay, it's fine. It's fine. Are you a herfboard?
No.
No? Are you a icicle? No. Okay. Are you edible?
Not really.
Not really?
Not really.
So, sort of. So, are you a house?
Yes, how did you know?
You know, I can read your mind. I know you're a great swimmer. I'm gonna be there to cheer for you at your next swim meet. How does that sound? Yeah? Okay. Hey, is it weird to see me after all this time? Or no?
I guess it was at first.
Okay.
I thought you might be different, but you're just the same one, Nick.
And as a viewer, especially as a parent, your brain is wired to want the fix. We're trained by decades of movies to expect the third act triumph. We think the research worked, the rehab worked, the family survived. We start to breathe again, just like David does. We let ourselves believe that the everything promised has been restored.
I had a rough week. Some of you know, some of you don't. I lost my Frances this week. She died of an overdose on Sunday. So, I guess I'm in mourning. But I realized something else. I've actually been in mourning for years. Because even when she was alive, she wasn't there. I mean, you mourn the living. And that's a hard way to live. So, in a way, it's better, I guess. She was a dear young woman. I always felt I needed to stay strong. There'd be some future event, and I need all my strength for it. But there are no events after this one. I hope she's not in pain now. Oh. My Frances.
And then the film fucking beats you in the ass for that hope. The relapse isn't loud or dramatic. It's just this quiet moment of weakness, a hidden stash, a needle in a filthy public bathroom. The cruelty of that false security is a life with an addict. You spend every day waiting for the other shoe to drop, and then for a few months you forget to look for the shoe. You start to trust again. You leave your wallet on the counter. You stop checking their pupils, and the second you stop being a detective and start being a parent again, a sibling again, a friend again, the world falls apart. The false security segment of this film highlights a new horror. It shows us that in a world of addiction, and perhaps in the world of parenting, in general, there's no such thing as safe. There's only safe for now. When the relapse hits after that long period of peace, it feels 10 times heavier than the first one. It's the realization that the monster wasn't dead. It was just sleeping, waiting for you to get comfortable. As a mother, that part keeps me up all night. The idea that you can just reach the summit, plant the flag, and think you've won, only to realize you're just standing on a ledge and the mountain is still growing behind you. The film forces us to experience that whiplash. It makes us feel the literal physical heartache of having our hope weaponized against us. It teaches us that the security was never real. It's just a temporary reprieve from a war that doesn't have a ceasefire. Now let's get into the technical weeds of why this film feels like a controlled panic attack in a J. Crew catalog. Ruben Impens, the cinematographer, is a goddamn sadist, and I mean that with the utmost respect. He's not just capturing a story, he's weaponizing the frame to make sure you feel every ounce of David's atmospheric dread. The film is obsessed with these wide, sweeping shots of the Northern California coastline and the massive ancient redwoods. And any other movie, say a rom-com about a girl who moves to a small town to bake pies, that's a tourism ad. Here, it's a massive middle finger. It frames David as this tiny, insignificant speck of khaki against an indifferent, gargantuan landscape. It's a visual shorthand for the universe doesn't give a shit how many New York Times articles you've written or how much you've spent on that organic kale. David, your kid is still missing in a forest of needles. It makes his parental agency look like a literal joke. It tells us that nature, both the woods and the chemical nature of addiction, is a monolith that your good intentions can't even bend. The lighting in this movie is basically gaslighting the audience for 2 hours straight. The flashbacks are drenched in this golden hour glow. It's tactile, sun-drenched, and it feels like a warm hug from a person who's about to steal your identity. It's the visual representation of the perfect past. Then, Ruben decides to shove us into the sauna and into a walk-in freezer. The now is sharp, clinical, and blue. The rehab centers aren't framed like places of healing. They're lit like morgues for hope. That sterile fluorescent hum practically radiates off the screen, making you feel the literal temperature drop in David's life. It creates a psychological whiplash that makes the audience crave the flashbacks just as much as David does, which is a brilliant, albeit cruel, way to make us complicit in his nostalgia. When the family fights start, the camera work goes from like stable tripod mountain security to this shaky cam bullshit real fast. It's subtle, this isn't the Blair Witch Project, but it creates a physical vertigo. It mimics that stomach-churning feeling before a single word is even spoken, that the vibe is totally fucked. It's the visual language of walking on eggshells. The camera doesn't just watch the argument, it trembles with the characters. It captures the instability of a home where the foundation has been replaced with a trapdoor. We have to look about the soundscape. Using tracks like sunrise, sunset is a low blow. It's David using nostalgia as a weapon against the own trauma, and the film let us hear that the resonance of that delusion. It's dad music.
Look at this graph.
It's dad music used as a time machine. Then you have Sigur Rós and the massive atmospheric swells that make the mundane act of driving a car feel like an epic journey into the heart of darkness. It's honestly impressive how they use beautiful melodic arrangements to make you feel like you're being slowly suffocated by a memory foam pillow. It's high art manipulation, and it works because it taps into that primal parental fear that lullabies we sing today will be the hauntings of tomorrow. The non-linear editing by Nico Lunin does not allow you to get settled. Just as you think you're following a trajectory of recovery, the film cuts back to a childhood memory, or forward to a hospital bed. It breaks the progress narrative. It forces the viewers to experience the same disorientation that David feels, where time isn't a line. It's a circle. You aren't moving past the addiction. You're just orbiting it. The editing ensures that the beautiful boy and the addict are constantly overlapping in the frame, so you can never look at one without being haunted by the other. It's a technical masterclass in making sure that the audience feels as exhausted and strung out as the protagonist. Now, I want to dig into what I call the new horror. In the old world, horror was a monster under the bed or a stranger in the woods. But in 2026, the horror is much more insidious. It's the realization that you can do everything right and still lose. We live in the era of the informed parent. We have sleep trackers, the gentle parenting podcasts, the organic meal prep, and the developmental milestone apps. I remember my husband and I bought these little boxes for our nursery, and it attached to this app where if we pressed the designated button, it would timestamp and track what we did. Bottles, diaper change for peeing and pooping, by the way, tummy time, anything we could think of. Well, it was supposed to be a tool to ease our mind because this was so much easier than hand journaling, right? Quickly turned into an obsession. We treat child rearing like a high stakes engineering product. We've been sold this lie, this absolute crock of shit, that if we just input enough good data, the output is guaranteed to be a healthy adult. We think that if we are present, empathetic, and research heavy, we are building a fortress for our children. Beautiful Boy is the movie that invades the fortress. Look at David Sheff. On paper, this man is the gold standard. He didn't ignore the problem. He didn't lean into tough love out of laziness. He didn't scream or beat his kid. He did the work. He sat on the floor and talked about feelings. He researched the neurobiology of dopamine receptors like he was prepping for a goddamn PhD. He spent money on the best rehabs. Like, he drove hours. He read the journals, and he maintained a level of radical, saint-like patience that would make most of us look like absolute assholes. And yet, despite making every correct move in the handbook, he still got a terrifying outcome. That is the true horror. Your child is an independent agent in a chaotic universe that doesn't give a damn about your parenting style. You can provide the most stable, loving, intellectual home on the planet, a literal sanctuary in the redwoods, and the world can still find a crack in the foundation. You can be the most tuned in mother or father, and your kids can still find a chemical that speaks louder than your voice. It highlights the crushing arrogance of our modern parenting culture, the idea that we have any real control. We think we're the pilots, but Beautiful Boy reminds us that we're really just passengers in the backseat screaming directions at a driver who has already jumped out of the car. David followed the perfect parent script to the letter, and the script still ended in a sterile rehab room with a broken son and a shattered life. It's the horror of the invisible variable. You can prepare for the exams, the bullies, and the broken bones. You can be ready for everything, But everything doesn't cover a random chemical hook that rewires your child's soul.
But there are no events after this one. I hope she's not in pain now. Oh. Bye, Francis.
It's a 10 out of 10 nightmare for any parent who thinks that they've got it figured out. Because it proves that even when you win the Good Parent Award, the universe can still hand you the Grief Trophy. The new horror is the realization that your love isn't a force field. You can do everything right, and the world can still find a way in. You are still at the mercy of a chemical or a circumstance that doesn't care how many books you read. I'll be honest, years ago, I saw David getting high to understand his son, and I thought it was dumb movie logic. I judged him hella bad. But looking at my daughter now, and if I saw her suffering the way David saw Nick suffering, I totally get it. I would walk into that fire, I would be snorting hella meth. Hypothetically, I'd be snorting hella meth, and if I thought that that's what I would have to do to understand whatever struggle she was going through, hell yeah. If that's what I thought it would take to see what she sees, absolutely.
I've only had Arlo for a day and a half, but if anything happened to him, I would kill everyone in this room and then myself.
Beautiful Boy concludes with David and Nick sitting together with no cure, no trophy, just the presence of a father who refuses to look away. And that's sort of the appraisal. Parenting isn't about the power to fix our children. It's about the endurance to stay in the room when they're broken. It's the terrifying transition from being their entire world to being the person who waits on the sidelines, praying they find their way home. Well, I'm Percy, and this was the postpartum appraisal. Next week, we move from the realistic horror of addiction to the ocean floor. We're going to talk about King Triton, the ultimate overprotective dad, and the literal price a daughter pays to find her own voice. Was he a villain? Or was he just a father who knew exactly how dangerous the surface world really was? See you then.